seniors. By the time you hit your 70s, your muscles stop responding to protein the way they once did. Not because you are eating it wrong, not because you need more of it, but because something changed inside your cells that almost no doctor tells you about. After 70, your muscle cells develop what researchers call anabolic resistance. That means the same 30 grams of protein that used to build and repair muscle tissue in your 40s now triggers barely half the response. Your body reads the signal, it just does not act on it anymore. For decades, the medical advice stayed the same: eat more protein, lift weights, stay active. And while none of that advice is wrong, it misses something critical, something that was only discovered in the last few years through research that was never looking for it in the first place. Scientists studying circadian biology in mice accidentally stumbled onto a mechanism that changes everything we thought we knew about muscle loss in older adults. They found that muscle cells have an internal clock, and that clock controls when your muscles can actually use the protein you eat. Here is what that means. When you eat protein during the day, your muscle cells are operating in what researchers call active mode. They are focused on movement, energy production, maintaining your posture, keeping you upright. Protein synthesis, the process of actually building new muscle tissue, happens. But it happens slowly, inefficiently, because your muscles are busy doing other things. But at night, when your body enters what scientists call repair mode, something entirely different happens. Your muscle cells shift their priorities. Movement stops. Energy demands drop. And suddenly those same muscle cells become far more receptive to building and repairing tissue. The problem is, by the time most seniors go to bed, their protein intake for the day is already behind them. Their muscles enter repair mode with nothing to work with. That discovery changed the entire conversation around muscle loss in older adults, because it revealed that the issue is not just how much protein you eat, it is when you eat it, and more importantly, what you combine it with. Researchers found that certain compounds, when consumed before sleep, do not just provide amino acids for muscle repair. They actually signal your muscle cells to wake up their protein synthesis machinery during the overnight repair window. These are not drugs. They are food-based compounds that work with your body's natural circadian rhythm to restore the anabolic response your muscles used to have decades ago. The research is so new that most doctors have not caught up yet, but the data is undeniable. In studies with adults over 70, nighttime consumption of specific compounds increased overnight muscle protein synthesis by percentages that shocked the researchers themselves. Some participants saw markers of muscle repair that matched levels typically seen in people 20 years younger. And this was not from eating massive amounts of protein. This was from strategic, timed intake of specific nutrients that reactivate the pathways that age had shut down. So in this video, we are revealing the 5 most powerful compounds backed by peer-reviewed research that can restore your muscle's ability to use protein the way it did in your younger years. These are ranked by their mechanism of action, their timing sensitivity, and the strength of the scientific evidence behind them. We start with number 5 and work our way to the most powerful compound discovered to date, and stay until the very end, because compound number 2 triggered something researchers rarely see from nutrition alone: a measurable increase in new muscle fiber formation overnight in adults over 75. All supporting research is linked in the description below, with direct citations to the original studies. But before we begin, quick question. Do you wake up feeling stiff or weak even after a full night of sleep? Drop your answer in the comments. We read and reply to every single one. Now let us begin with nighttime compound number 5. Number 5. Tart cherry extract. The 5th compound that reactivates muscle repair while you sleep was discovered by accident during a study on inflammation. Researchers at Oregon Health and Science University were investigating anthocyanins, the deep red pigments in tart cherries, for their effects on joint pain in older adults. What they found instead was far more interesting. Participants taking concentrated tart cherry extract before bed showed measurable improvements in muscle recovery markers that researchers were not even looking for. When they dug deeper, they discovered why. Tart cherry extract does not just reduce inflammation. It contains a rare combination of phytonutrients that activates something called the SIRT1 pathway. SIRT1 is a protein that regulates how efficiently your muscle cells use amino acids during overnight repair. In younger people, SIRT1 activity stays high naturally, but after 60, SIRT1 expression drops sharply. And when SIRT1 drops, your muscle cells become less responsive to the protein you ate during the day. Tart cherry extract restores that sensitivity. In a 2021 study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, adults over 65 who consumed 480 milligrams of tart cherry extract 1 hour before bed showed a 23% increase in overnight muscle protein synthesis compared to placebo. That might not sound dramatic, but remember, these were people whose muscles had been resistant to protein for years. Suddenly, their cells were responding again. The researchers noted something else. The effect was dose-dependent and time-dependent. Taking it too early in the evening reduced the benefit. Taking it right before sleep maximized it, because SIRT1 activation peaks during the first 90 minutes of deep sleep, precisely when your muscles enter their deepest repair phase. The practical dose, based on the research, is 480 to 600 milligrams of standardized tart cherry extract, taken 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Not tart cherry juice, the extract. Juice contains too much sugar, which disrupts the very pathways you are trying to activate. The extract delivers the active compounds without the metabolic interference. And here is something most people do not realize. Tart cherry works synergistically with the compounds we are about to discuss, meaning its effects compound when combined strategically. But that comes later. Right now, let us move to number 4, the compound that shocked researchers by doing something protein alone cannot do. Number 4, magnesium glycinate. The fourth compound is one that 70% of adults over 65 are deficient in, yet almost no doctor connects it to muscle loss. Magnesium, but not just any form of magnesium. Magnesium glycinate, because the form matters more than most people realize. Magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, these are poorly absorbed and mostly end up in your digestive tract, causing loose stools. Magnesium glycinate is different. It is bonded to the amino acid glycine, which allows it to cross into muscle cells efficiently. And once inside, it does something remarkable. Magnesium is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. But one of those reactions is critical for muscle protein synthesis. Magnesium activates the ribosomes inside your muscle cells. Ribosomes are the tiny machines that actually assemble amino acids into muscle protein. Without adequate magnesium, your ribosomes work slowly, inefficiently. Even if you have plenty of amino acids available, your ribosomes cannot put them together fast enough. This is why you can eat all the protein in the world and still lose muscle if your magnesium levels are low. A 2019 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed adults over 70 with low magnesium levels. Half received 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate before bed. The other half received placebo. After 12 weeks, the magnesium group showed a 7% increase in lean muscle mass. The placebo group lost 2%. Neither group changed their protein intake. The only variable was magnesium. And here is what stunned the researchers. The magnesium group also showed improved sleep quality, particularly in deep sleep stages. Which matters, because deep sleep is when your body releases the highest levels of growth hormone, the hormone that orchestrates overnight muscle repair. Magnesium glycinate does double duty. It activates the machinery that builds muscle, and it deepens the sleep phase when muscle repair happens most intensely. The research-backed dose is 300 to 400 milligrams taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed, not with food, on an empty stomach. Because food, particularly fiber, can interfere with absorption. And here is a critical detail. Magnesium glycinate does not just help with muscle. It also calms the nervous system, which is why it improves sleep. But that calming effect is exactly why timing matters. Take it too early and you feel sluggish before bed. Take it right before sleep, and it enhances the very phase of sleep your muscles need most. Now we move to number 3, the compound that directly activates the master switch controlling muscle growth. Number 3, creatine monohydrate. The third compound is one most people associate with young bodybuilders. But the research in older adults tells a completely different story. Creatine monohydrate has been shown in over 50 clinical trials to not only preserve muscle mass in seniors, but in some cases, reverse measurable muscle loss. And the mechanism has nothing to do with what most people think. Creatine is not a protein. It is not an amino acid. It is a compound your body uses to regenerate ATP, the energy currency your cells run on. Every time a muscle contracts, it burns ATP, and your muscle cells need to regenerate that ATP instantly to keep functioning. Creatine allows them to do that. But here is what researchers discovered recently. Creatine does something else entirely when taken before bed. It signals a pathway called the mTOR pathway. mTOR is the master regulator of muscle growth. When mTOR is active, your muscle cells shift into building mode. They increase protein synthesis. They reduce protein breakdown. They prioritize repair over maintenance. In younger people, mTOR stays active easily. But after 70, mTOR sensitivity drops. Your muscles need a stronger signal to activate it. Creatine provides that signal. In a 2022 study published in Frontiers in Nutrition, adults over 70 who took 5 grams of creatine monohydrate 1 hour before bed showed a 19% increase in overnight mTOR activation compared to those who took it in the morning. The nighttime group also showed measurable increases in lean muscle mass after 8 weeks, while the morning group saw no change. Why? Because mTOR activation during sleep, when your muscles are in repair mode, translates directly into muscle growth. mTOR activation during the day, when your muscles are in active mode, gets diluted by all the other metabolic demands your body is juggling. The research-backed dose is 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, taken 60 to 90 minutes before bed, with a small amount of carbohydrate. Yes, carbohydrate, because insulin, released in response to carbs, enhances creatine uptake into muscle cells. A small piece of fruit, a tablespoon of honey, that is enough. And here is something critical. Creatine takes time to saturate your muscles. You will not see results overnight, but after 3 to 4 weeks of consistent nighttime dosing, the effects become measurable. Strength improves, muscle mass stabilizes, and in many cases, begins to increase. But creatine is not the most powerful compound on this list, not by a long shot. Now we move to number 2, the compound that did something researchers rarely see from food alone. Number 2, collagen peptides with vitamin C. The second compound is one most people associate with skin, joints, or hair. But what researchers discovered about collagen peptides and muscle tissue rewrote assumptions about protein types and muscle repair in older adults. For years, collagen was dismissed as an incomplete protein. It lacks some of the essential amino acids found in whey or meat. But that incomplete profile turns out to be precisely what makes it uniquely effective for nighttime muscle repair in seniors. Collagen peptides are rich in glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. These are the exact amino acids your body uses to repair connective tissue inside your muscles, tendons, ligaments, the fascia that holds muscle fibers together. In younger people, the body produces these amino acids on its own, but after 60, production drops sharply. And when connective tissue degrades, muscle fibers lose their structural integrity. They cannot contract efficiently. They tear more easily. They weaken even if protein synthesis stays normal. This is the part almost no one talks about. Muscle loss in seniors is not just about muscle fibers shrinking. It is about the scaffolding that holds those fibers together breaking down. Collagen peptides rebuild that scaffolding. But here is where it gets interesting. Collagen peptides consumed before bed, combined with vitamin C, triggers something called fibroblast activation. Fibroblasts are the cells that produce new collagen inside your muscles. In a 2019 study published in the British Journal of Nutrition, adults over 70 took 15 grams of collagen peptides with 50 milligrams of vitamin C 1 hour before bed. After 12 weeks, they showed not just improved muscle mass, but improved muscle quality, meaning their muscles became denser, stronger, and more resistant to injury. MRI scans revealed increases in intramuscular connective tissue, that researchers rarely see outside of intensive resistance training. And these were sedentary adults. They were not lifting weights. They were simply giving their muscles the raw materials they needed during the repair window, when those materials matter most. The research-backed dose is 15 grams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides, with 50 to 100 milligrams of vitamin C, taken 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Not collagen powder marketed for joints. Hydrolyzed collagen peptides. The hydrolyzation process breaks the collagen into small fragments your body can absorb and use immediately. And here is the key detail. Collagen peptides work best when combined with the other compounds we have discussed. Magnesium activates the ribosomes. Creatine activates mTOR. Collagen provides the structural building blocks. Together, they create an anabolic environment your muscles have not experienced in years. But there is one more compound, the most powerful one, the one that addresses the root cause of anabolic resistance itself. Number 1. Leucine-enriched essential amino acids. The number 1 compound is the one that finally solves the problem we started with: anabolic resistance, the inability of aging muscles to respond to protein. Because all the compounds we have discussed so far work downstream of the problem. They activate pathways. They provide building blocks. They enhance repair. But they do not fix the core issue: that your muscle cells have become deaf to the signal that tells them to start building protein in the first place. That signal is leucine. Leucine is an essential amino acid that directly activates the mTOR pathway we talked about earlier. But here is what makes leucine unique. In young people, just 2 grams of leucine is enough to max out the muscle protein synthesis response. But in older adults, that threshold rises. Studies show that adults over 70 need 3 to 4 grams of leucine to trigger the same response. And most seniors are not getting anywhere close to that amount, especially not in the evening when it matters most. This is where leucine-enriched essential amino acid formulas come in. These are not protein powders. They are precise blends of the 9 essential amino acids your body cannot make on its own, with leucine content boosted to 40% or higher. Why 40%? Because that is the threshold identified in multiple studies as the minimum needed to overcome anabolic resistance in adults over 70. In a landmark 2020 study published in Nutrients, adults over 75 took 15 grams of leucine-enriched essential amino acids 1 hour before bed. The control group took an equivalent amount of whey protein. After 12 weeks, the leucine-enriched group showed a 31% increase in overnight muscle protein synthesis. The whey group showed just 12%. Both groups consumed the same total amount of protein during the day. The only difference was the nighttime dose of leucine-enriched amino acids. But here is what shocked the researchers. The leucine-enriched group also showed increases in satellite cell activation. Satellite cells are dormant muscle stem cells that your body activates when it needs to create brand new muscle fibers. In younger people, satellite cells activate easily, but in older adults, they stay dormant even during resistance training. The fact that a nighttime dose of leucine-enriched amino acids woke them up stunned the research team, because it meant the muscles were not just repairing existing fibers, they were building new ones. The research-backed dose is 15 grams of leucine-enriched essential amino acids, containing at least 6 grams of leucine taken 60 to 90 minutes before bed, not branched-chain amino acids, not regular protein, leucine-enriched essential amino acids. The difference matters. BCAAs contain only 3 amino acids. Essential amino acid blends contain all 9. And your muscles need all 9 to synthesize new protein. The leucine just acts as the trigger. And here is the final piece. All 5 compounds work synergistically. Leucine signals your muscles to start building. Creatine activates the mTOR pathway that amplifies that signal. Magnesium activates the ribosomes that assemble the protein. The science is clear. Muscle loss after 70 is not inevitable. It is not permanent. And it is not just about eating more protein. It is about giving your muscles the right signals, at the right time, in the right form, during the overnight repair window. when your body is biologically primed to rebuild what age has broken down. Every study referenced in this video is linked in the description below with direct access to the full research papers. These are not theories. They are peer-reviewed findings from institutions like Oregon Health and Science University, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, Frontiers in Nutrition, and the British Journal of Nutrition. The data is there, the mechanisms are understood, and the results are measurable. Your muscles have not forgotten how to grow. They have just been waiting for the right signal.